The Tower of Babel, Genesis 11:1-9. In the days after the great flood, all people on earth spoke the same language and could understand each other perfectly. They journeyed together, moving eastward until they found a large, flat plain in the land of Shinar. Deciding it was a good place to settle, they began to plan a great city. The story of Babel, where people attempted to build a tower that would reach the heavens, is indeed a profound illustration of pride and misplaced ambition. The builders sought to make a name for themselves, showcasing human desire for power and independence from divine guidance. This act of pride reflects a common tendency to prioritize personal achievement and recognition over humble reliance on God. In response, God dispersed them and confused their language, reminding humanity of its limitations and the importance of unity rooted in reverence for Him. Absolutely, the story of the Tower of Babel brings out the theme of unity and language in a remarkable way. Initially, the people's shared language enabled them to work together seamlessly, illustrating the power of unified communication and purpose. But when God confused their language, it introduced diversity and dispersion, leading to the birth of distinct languages and cultures. This shift from unity to separation highlights how language can both bring people together and create divisions, a concept that remains relevant today as we navigate multicultural and multilingual societies. If you're presenting this story on your channel, it could be an excellent way to explore the role of language in fostering community and identity, as well as the value of diversity in God's design for humanity. The Tower of Babel story is indeed a clear example of God's sovereignty and His active intervention in human affairs. When humanity began to place excessive confidence in its own abilities, seeking to reach the heavens and achieve self-glorification, God stepped in to redirect their path. His intervention, confusing their language and dispersing them, was a powerful reminder that while human ambition is strong, God ultimately holds authority over the course of history and the direction of humanity. This serves as a meaningful reminder that while human effort has value, true purpose and direction come from aligning with God's will. The Tower of Babel story strikingly demonstrates the limits of human ambition and achievement without divine guidance. The builders aimed to reach the heavens through their own efforts, symbolizing a reliance on human strength rather than on God. Yet, their project was halted, showing that endeavors built solely on self-reliance and pride are ultimately bound to fail. This illustrates a timeless truth, that without God's guidance and approval, even the grandest human achievements have limitations. Reminder that true success and fulfillment come from aligning one's goals with God's purpose. The Tower of Babel story beautifully addresses the biblical origin of cultural and linguistic diversity. When God confounded the single language of humanity, it led to the scattering of people across the earth, resulting in the formation of distinct languages and cultures. This deliberate act highlights diversity as part of God's will, a foundational element in His plan for humanity. Rather than a byproduct of human error, diversity is portrayed as a divinely orchestrated aspect of human existence. Dependence on God versus self-reliance. The people of Babel desired independence and self-reliance. The story highlights the theme that reliance on God, rather than on human strength, is essential for unity and success. The importance of seeking God's guidance over relying solely on personal ambition. It's a timeless reminder that unity and success are best achieved when rooted in a humble dependence on God's wisdom and direction. The consequences of disobedience and self-exaltation. Instead of obeying God's command to fill the earth, the people chose to settle in one place, seeking security and recognition in their own efforts. Their desire to build a tower that reached the heavens symbolized an attempt to elevate themselves, contrary to God's instruction. In response, God scattered them across the earth, fulfilling His original command in a way they hadn't anticipated. Disregarding God's guidance and pursuing self-glorification can lead to unexpected consequences. It illustrates that true fulfillment comes from aligning with God's will rather than resisting it. The Tower of Babel vividly illustrates the limitations of humanity, in contrast to the infinite wisdom of God. In the early days, after the Great Flood, people united in a common language and shared ambition. They found a rich plain in Shinar and resolved to build a magnificent city and a tower that would ascend to the heavens, proclaiming their strength and ingenuity. Their goal was to make a name for themselves, aiming for greatness without regard for God's intentions. As they worked diligently, their determination was palpable. However, in their quest for self-sufficiency and control, they overlooked an essential truth: human capabilities are inherently limited. They believed that through their own efforts, they could achieve anything. Yet, God, in His wisdom, observed their actions and recognized the potential for pride and rebellion. In response, God chose to intervene, emphasizing that His ways and understanding far exceed human comprehension. If as one people speaking the same language, they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them, He remarked. To counter their misguided ambition, God confused their language, creating barriers to communication. The sudden chaos forced the people to abandon their project and scatter across the earth, fulfilling God's original command to fill the world. This act of divine intervention served as a powerful reminder that while humans may strive to control their destiny, true wisdom and purpose come from aligning with God's plan. The scattering at Babel demonstrated that reliance on human strength alone is misguided. God's wisdom is higher than human understanding, and His plans ultimately prevail. This story invites reflection on the importance of humility, the recognition of our limitations, and the need to seek God's guidance in all endeavors. It teaches that, when we attempt to assert our will without God, we may find ourselves lost and divided, whereas embracing His wisdom leads to unity and fulfillment in His purpose serves as a poignant illustration of the futility of idolatry and the dangers of human pride. As the people of Babel set out to construct a magnificent tower that would reach the heavens, they not only aimed to establish their greatness, but also created a symbol of their own ambition and power. This towering structure can be viewed as an idol, an object of worship representing their desire for self-exaltation and independence from God. In their pursuit of building the tower, the people believed they could achieve something extraordinary through their own strength and ingenuity. They sought to make a name for themselves, placing their confidence in a man-made monument rather than in the Creator. This reflects a common human tendency to place trust in what is crafted by human hands instead of acknowledging the divine authority that governs all creation. However, God, in His wisdom and sovereignty, opposes human pride and self-glorification. When He observed the people's intentions, He understood the inherent danger of their idolatrous pursuits. The tower became a representation of their misguided ambition, an attempt to elevate themselves above their true position as creations of God. In response to their pride, God intervened by confusing their language and scattering them across the earth. This act served as a powerful reminder that no human endeavor, no matter how grand, can stand against God's will. The futility of their idol was laid bare as they were unable to complete their project and were divided in purpose and communication. The story underscores the idea that idolatry, whether in the form of physical objects, ambitions, or self-importance, is ultimately fruitless. It teaches that, when humanity seeks to elevate itself through prideful acts, it runs the risk of being humbled by the very Creator it seeks to overshadow. As you share this message on your channel, it could resonate deeply with audiences, encouraging them to reflect on the importance of humility and reliance on God rather than creating idols of their own. It reminds us that true significance and purpose come not from our achievements, but from a genuine relationship with God, who opposes pride and calls us to recognize our dependence on Him. Tower of Babel highlights the crucial role of effective communication in fostering unity and community. In the beginning, the people of Babel shared a single language, which allowed them to collaborate seamlessly on their ambitious project. Their ability to communicate effectively was essential for their collective effort, showcasing how mutual understanding can drive a community toward a common goal. However, as the people sought to build a tower that reached the heavens, their ambition overshadowed the fundamental purpose of their unity. They focused on creating a monumental symbol of pride rather than nurturing their relationships with one another and with God. Their desire to make a name for themselves ultimately led to their downfall, as God intervened by confusing their language. This divine intervention serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of communication in maintaining harmony within a community. Once their language was fragmented, the people could no longer understand one another, leading to confusion, frustration, and eventual separation. The once cohesive group became scattered across the earth, illustrating how the breakdown of communication can fracture relationships and disrupt community life. The story teaches that effective communication is vital for understanding, cooperation, and unity. When people fail to communicate openly and honestly, misunderstandings can arise, causing divisions and strife. In contrast, mutual understanding fosters connection and collaboration, enabling a society to thrive. On your channel, this theme can resonate with audiences, encouraging them to prioritize effective communication in their relationships and communities. It serves as a reminder that a harmonious society relies on the ability to listen, understand, and work together toward common goals. Ultimately, the story of Babel challenges us to seek unity through open dialogue and shared purpose, recognizing that our strength lies in our ability to communicate and connect with one another. Powerful reminder of the importance of humility before God. In their ambition to build a tower that would reach the heavens, the people of Babel exemplified human pride, believing they could achieve greatness through their own efforts. Their desire for self-exaltation led them to disregard God's command to fill the earth, instead seeking to establish their significance on their own terms. As they pursued their ambitious project, they became united in their pride, but this unity was misguided. God, in His wisdom, saw the potential danger in their actions, and chose to intervene. By confusing their language, He highlighted the futility of their pride, and the limitations of human endeavor. The once cohesive group was scattered, illustrating that pride can ultimately lead to division and separation. In contrast, humility opens the door to deeper relationships, with God and with one another. When individuals acknowledge their limitations and submit to God's authority, they create an environment where unity can flourish. Humility allows for understanding, compassion, and collaboration, enabling people to come together in a shared purpose rather than competing for recognition. The Tower of Babel story calls us to reflect on our own attitudes and ambitions. It encourages us to prioritize humility over pride, recognizing that true greatness lies not in self-promotion, but in service to God and others. When we embrace humility, we align ourselves with God's will and foster a spirit of cooperation and love within our communities. In sharing this message on your channel, you can inspire viewers to cultivate humility in their lives. This story reminds us that as we seek to draw closer to God, we must also seek to draw closer to one another, fostering unity and understanding through a humble heart. Ultimately, the call to humility is an invitation to experience the richness of community and the depth of God's grace. May your spiritual journey be filled with God's grace and peace. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to inspire others on their walk with the Lord.